Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guests know bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful returning guest, Susan Peters. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to us to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy. And I'm a spiritual guide and healer who's passionate about helping you reconnect with your divine presence and step into your purpose. Now, through angelic Reiki, angel oracle cards, guided meditations, and exploring past and future lives, I support you in healing your past and creating a soul aligned future. Now, my journey has taught me that with the right tools and guidance, we can all connect with our higher selves, embrace transformation, and live a life of abundance and fulfillments. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation on angel oracle card reading, with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's returning guest, Susan Peters, about how deep loss leads to deep connection. Now, Susan is a first time author and co author of 3 Amazon best-selling books in 8 months in 2024. And they were The Miracle of Marrying My Heart, a journey of discovering new dreams after loss, Manifesting Magical Moments, Embrace the Extraordinary in Everyday Life, Breath of Gold, Stories of Healing and Awakening through Breathwork. Now, after the unexpected and devastating loss of her beloved husband, John, she began a transformational journey to move through her grief. Now, Susan discovered how creating new dreams, sharing her stories, and doing weekly breath work helped bring her heart, body, and spirit back into wholeness and authentic connection, allowing her to embrace the fullness of life. It has also helped her to connect on new levels with many others who are journeying through many different types of challenges and losses, and who each of us have their own stories to share. Now, through support, encouragement, and collaboration, she is helping to bring about a transformative shift out of old patterns into a new way of living together. Susan is also experiencing another profound shift as she becomes a part-time caregiver for a mother-in-law who has dementia. Now, Susan hopes to inspire others to reconnect more fully with themselves, with each other, and with the divine to discover purpose, potential, and magic in their lives once again. So, without further delay, hello, Susan, and welcome back to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Hi, Ray. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me back. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. I enjoyed our conversation last time, and I know you've got so much more to add to it now. So, before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments, and thoughts, as both Susan and I want to be part of this conversation. So, please don't be shy, and we will circle back to any comments, questions, or thoughts left. So, Susan, why don't you remind us about your journey, writing connection, new challenges, and how deep loss can lead to a deeper connection?
Sure. Yeah, it all started when I lost my husband. It'll be actually 4 years on Valentine's Day this year. And it was a heart wide opening story. It just broke my heart. It shattered my heart. It made my whole world change. I didn't know my own identity anymore. It really made my eyes open and my heart open at the same time. And I was, at first I was terrified. I was scared. I didn't know where I was going or how I was going to do it. I almost didn't even want to be here anymore. Just like I have to survive until I get to where he is and where a better place is, but then I started realizing, and I think it's because he died on Valentine's Day, that I had to focus on my heart. And so when I focused on my heart, I started realizing that is what I need to do, is go inside my heart even more, because while it's opened, it was the place that I could actually connect with myself on a deeper level now. And I never thought about that before. I mean, I always lived with my heart and I loved with my heart, but I never went that deep. And once that was open so much, I realized there's so much love within me that I need to tap into, and I need to learn and trust myself 100%. And once I did that, that's when I created a dream to marry my heart. And that's what my first book was about, because I felt that if I could trust and love myself 100%, then I could journey forward. That would help me go find my purpose in life. And I started being able to connect with other people through their losses and share my story, which led to them leading their story. And I started realizing that it's the more we tell our stories is how we help each other to heal and to lift each other up into a new level. Like we get to shift. And that's what led me to want to keep writing and sharing my stories, because I felt like the more chance we have to go deeper, the more chance we have of opening to even more and more people. So because everybody has all different kind of losses, not everybody has lost a spouse like I have. You might, lose a mother, a father, a pet, a friend, your job, your house, like all these people across the planet now that have lost homes due to all kind of situations, fires and floods and war, and there's so many losses at this time. And yet at the same time, what does everybody say? What is the most important thing to you? Is your family, that you're still alive, that you still have some purpose in life, that there is something more than the tangible things that we have. And it is our stories, I believe, our everyday stories. It doesn't have to be anything fantastic. It's just what we go through every day in life. There's trials every day. You hear of something new in my family, in the world, on the news, in people in your community. And so that's what connects us, I think. It is those hard moments, because life isn't easy. It's really challenging. And so I started realizing that through different connections, whether they're from the spiritual realm, like my husband would give me messages sometimes through different things that he would send me. I would see different like geese flying across my backyard the day of his funeral. That made me realize that, hey, you can still fly without me, kind of thing. Or because he died on Valentine's Day, I would start seeing hearts everywhere, and the hearts would connect me to him, but they'd also connect me deeper into myself. And then they would start connecting me with other people, because other people started saying, oh, I saw a heart here, or I saw a heart there. And then I started realizing that we aren't even separate from the spiritual realm and our realm and each other. All of those things are important. So in my stories, that's where the connections, I think, come in. My first story, when I took myself on a heart honeymoon, and I'm the very first person I met in the cafeteria. I mean, the cafe that I ate lunch in, was a lady who had also lost her husband when her kids were little. And she resonated with my story. Once I shared it with her, it gave her some new hope to step forward in her life. And then my next book I wrote, it was about, I kept seeing sunflowers pop up in our garden. When John got sick in the hospital, I had to come home, and in our vegetable garden, there's this sunflower that just was popped up in the middle of it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a sign. It gave me a sign of hope and peace and love and connection. And then the next year in my garden, again, one more sunflower popped up. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool again. And then the next year, one more showed up, only one every year. I was like, oh my gosh. So the next year I was waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping there's going to be a sunflower, and nothing was growing. And I was getting sadder and sadder, and I started going deeper into my loss instead of deeper into my connection. So I finally cried myself out to the universe as I stood outside on my driveway at the moon one night. And I said, okay, I'm empty now. I'm empty, and I'm making myself available for what can come in. And what I would really like to come in is a sunflower. And so then I said, thank you to the universe, to God, to John. And I said, I'm going to bed. And I woke up that next morning, and I had this urge to turn on my phone, which I never do. I usually lay there, get up, take my time. And it kept saying, turn on your phone, turn on your phone. I turned it on. And on my Facebook page is somebody liking my page, which is called Heart to Soul Links. And I opened it up, and her profile picture is the most gorgeous, beautiful sunflower you've ever seen. I was crying and crying. I couldn't stop crying. I was like, my prayer was answered in a totally different way than I ever would have expected. And how was it done? Through a person. It was a connection of somebody else that was open to my divine prayer, and somehow she responded and I received it, and then we both connected. And then on top of it, listen to this story. I started connecting with her on Facebook and became friends with her. Finds out that her dad used to plant sunflower seeds, and he planted thousands of them in his lifetime. And she has thousands of pictures of sunflowers. And so she was sending me a sunflower picture every day after that for so long. So I was like, wow, because I let go of my pain, but in my pain, I was hurting and I was staying stuck in it. But once I let go of that pain and said, okay, it's still going to be here, but what can I do with this? All of a sudden, somebody else responded and changed my whole perspective, and made me realize how important we are to each other. That we really can't do this life alone. We need to ask for help. We need to ask for help from the angels, from our guides, from our loved ones, from people on this earth that are around us. And people show up. They show up, and divine help shows up whenever we ask, whenever we open ourselves to it. So it's a whole interesting thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely amazing, and it's kind of like, because in today's society, you're kind of like it's kind of like expected. I mean, I'm guessing from Victorian times, that's when it came in, that you had to isolate, to mourn any loss at all. You didn't go out socializing, you didn't mix. You just kind of like kept in, which really didn't help, and we sort of like came to that. Whereas obviously, if you look at the Irish, they have, they all get together, and you look at other societies outside of what were Victorian or even modern societies, and they did that. And now more people are doing it. That actually, when they have lost, they are opening up and connecting to other people, rather than just hiding away. They might for a few days, but then they're opening up to allowing other people to come in, which is good for their mental health, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Because it's really hard to suffer by yourself, when you get into it. And I was there for a while. I just wanted to be by myself, and I felt like I was, nobody bothered me, nobody come into my space. But then I started realizing, the more and more I allowed people into my space, the more and more I changed, I transformed, I opened. I started realizing the precious gift that this life really was, and that we don't just have to survive to get to the next life, that we have to live right now, that every single moment is precious and important. And being with the people that we're with, whatever people come into our lives, whatever people are part of our lives, that's a precious gift too, that we can't look away from, because we're here together for a reason. And that kind of goes into what's kind of happening in my life right now, because my husband John's dad passed away in November, and he was being a caregiver to his wife, my mother-in-law, his John's mom, that has dementia. And so all of a sudden now, all the siblings and wives, he had 4 brothers, and we've all had to start taking care of her now 24/7, because we can't leave her alone, since October, when he got sick before he died. So it's been a whole eye-opening journey. It's definitely not anything I would have chosen to do, because it's very, very challenging. But because I've had to be immersed in it quite often for hours and hours at a time, and then you start seeing loss from another perspective. Like, my mother-in-law is definitely losing all her capability of so much memory, and it's we've seen the switch, how much it's dropped, and she knows it, and she'll say, oh, I'm so frustrated, I can't remember this, I can't remember that. And who are you again? And who are you? Oh, I just can't remember. And I just want to die. I just want, and then you feel sad um, that she's going through her own loss in this way. And that's almost more torturous because she almost doesn't even really realize that much that her husband died. And so it's a whole different grief process. She doesn't remember my husband. I'll talk about John, her son. And she's like, well, who is that again? And that's hard. It's like, because it keeps, coming back at me. But at the same time, I'm realizing the deeper I get into it, that there's still a reason that she's here. There's still a reason that I'm with her and that the rest of our family has had this interaction time. And it's helping us to understand each other better. It's helping us to understand dementia better. It's helping us to realize how fragile life really is and how we can't take this moment for granted because we don't know when things are going to change. We can't talk to her like we did, 2 years ago. She doesn't, it's hard to even have a conversation with her. But at the same time, she still will give us a hug, or she'll say, thank you for helping me. And she goes up and down with all kind of emotions. So some days are hard and she's really frustrated and gets upset and angry and agitated really easily. But it's helped me to learn how to be more patient and understanding and to realize that she's just trying her best, to do what she needs to do to communicate or to understand things, and that she's just frustrated sometimes. And so then I have to learn how to see how can I handle that? How can I like let go of what I want? Because sometimes I'm like, why can't I do what I want? And she won't let us like go on our phones or our computers because she thinks like we're talking to our friends and not to her. And so it's been a whole adjustment for me. So it's sort of like a grief for me of letting go of my perception of life and how I want it. And at the same time, it's realizing that helping me to realize that it's in the simplicity of life and all those little simple things of just loving in the moment, of just taking time for somebody, of just fixing somebody some food to eat and sitting with them eating it. And, those are the things that do bring us deeper connection. We don't have to, necessarily sit and meditate for hours to find it, but we find it through each other.
Yeah, no, that's beautifully said, and I know some people myself whose parents, they lost them through dementia, or even partner,
Mm,
they lost their partner, and it was a grieving process all the way through the gradual decline, and that. So by the time they did eventually pass, they'd already done the main grieving process, and it was kind of like a relief,
yeah,
really,
yeah,
that person was now at peace, but they could then move on with their life, because technically your life kind of like stops, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's 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 a whole rearranging of your plan, sort of. But the thing is sometimes we think we know what our plan is. Sometimes we think we're in control of our lives, but we're really not. And the more you realize that if you can allow the surrendering of what you think, because for me, the more I surrender, the more I realize that it is working out, that it is teaching me something I didn't learn. It's also mirroring to myself some important lessons. And realizing that someday I'm going to age and grow old and might lose my mind, and somebody's going to have to take care of me. And it's a big eye-opening thing, just like death. Like when going through being a widow, a lot of times people don't want to approach you because they're scared, what to say, what to do. They don't know, they don't want to hurt you or make you cry. And and we as widows are like, I wish people would talk to us and embrace us. But what we realize is that we're mirroring death to people. Like this could happen to you, or this could happen to your spouse, or this could happen to your mother or father or family member. And it's a really hard thing for us to look at. And that's why I think what I like to do is, the more I'm sharing my stories in my books and in my day-to-day life, it's helping me to realize, to help show that these are the things that we need to talk about, because grief and death and dementia and that journey through all those things is something that is just part of life. It's just natural, really. We make it scary, we make it hard sometimes, but it's just natural. And if we flow with the nature of it, um, we 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 can get to a better place, and we can get to that place faster, and especially with the support and collaboration of other people, through all different ways. I mean, I've got so many different people that I've connected with that have helped me on my journey, coaches, mentors, people just listening, other people, random people on this that I meet as I travel, in a coffee shop, or um, just on a street corner, that you just are waiting in line at the store. All of a sudden, someone else has a story, and you realize that they're important, and their story is important too, and all of our stories matter. And then we help each other to get to the next level of our journey, or find the path if we got lost for a while, or get redirected if we need to. And we can only do that if we allow that deep connection.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And obviously, another thing I think that, has started to happen is that people, there's more community now.
Yeah.
People are actually being more supportive and understanding of each other compared to, say, I don't know, 5, 6, 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
We are now sort of like being more understanding and supporting other people. And I mean, we might moan about the internet and all the social media platforms, etc. But there's good stuff with it, because it means you have more connection. You can connect with groups that are going through what you're going through to have that support. You can connect with family members who might be in another country, so
Yeah.
that you can grieve together. So I think things have changed, and it's a lot easier for people now. When I say easier, it's it's not so hard to connect to other people. It's still not easier dealing with any loss at
Yeah.
all. I dealt with loss of my dad when I was 20, and I was on holiday, and he was, I wasn't anywhere
No.
near him. 2022, when the rug was pulled out of my feet and everything around me, sort of like, did this, everything was just taken out overnight. But it was the connection of the people that I had around me
Yeah.
that got me through that, and being open to asking for help.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we forget that, don't we? We kind of think, I can't ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to just to have that humility, and that, like, that letting go of holding on. It's kind of ironic, letting go of holding on, but it's kind of true. Sometimes we want to cling to what's harder, because it's almost more comforting in the moment. But then you realize, once you do let it go, it's not so, um, it doesn't have a grip on you anymore, and that's so freeing.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you got any, if someone's going through some loss at the moment, whether that's through a death, dementia, or loss of, their whole livelihood, their
Yeah.
home, etc., and that, any tips or anything that people might be able to use to help them sort of like navigate the situation?
Yeah, the first thing is, have just grace with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't, go in, feeling guilty about things, because we can't control things. It's just, things happen the way they happen. And so many times we get wrapped up in the frustration of what we could have done or should have done, or things like that. And in the end, none of that really matters. What happened happened, and we can't change that, but we can change how we look at things. And we can see that no matter what happened, we're in a new space, and we have the possibility to create something new because of that. And so what I have found is reaching out to other people, mentors, coaches, grief groups, things like that. They give you just a new way of looking at things, a new perspective, and that support and encouragement as you're going along, so that you're not feeling alone, so that you can start seeing that, oh, someone else is going through the same exact thing I'm going through, or someone else is having the same struggle, or someone else has a similar story, and then all of a sudden you find a connection. And then that's what has helped me go forward the most. Those little connections here and there have led up to big connections. And then that letting go just feels so much better. It's like you don't feel like you're carrying, a ton of rocks around with you. You feel more like you're like with the angel feathers. You've got angels supporting you, and that's another thing. We need to real trust in the divine help that's around us. That's another thing I do is breath work, and that's what my third book is about. We went on a breath work journey in Sedona, Arizona, and we got to write about our experiences after having 3 days of breath work together and doing outside things like hiking and climbing up to the vortex areas and things like that, where we worked together as a group, and then we also were breathing together deeper into ourselves and with each other. And through breath work, I have found connection to angels. I have found connection to my husband, John. I found connections to my parents and my grandparents and my ancestors, and to spirit guides that are helping us. And it has made such a difference too, because it took me out of myself and my sad place and helped me to realize they're all right there. I'm never alone, ever. And they want to support me. The more we just take a breath and think about it, like we're alive and they're breathing. They were breathing with us when they were alive, but they're still right here around us as we breathe, and they can help us to expand through their own connection. And it has expanded my heart, my love, my wanting to be alive and wanting to share my stories. All of those things have just been an extra boost, to help me. And they're always there, right there helping us.
Yeah, they are, they are totally there, totally there. As I said, I lost my dad, oh my God, got to be 35 years ago now, but
Wow.
he's still there. I still have conversations with him. I
Yeah.
know he's there. Obviously, I've got the angels, that
Yeah.
they're always there. So that support is always there with you, but sometimes we just don't realize.
Yeah.
And I think, as you said earlier, it was, going into within your heart, how, I mean, obviously it's not, if you've just had a loss, it's not easy, but how could someone sort of like go into their heart if they are in that grieving process?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy at first, and it took me a while. What woke me up is somebody said to me, "What dreams do you have?" And I was like, I've kind of lived all my dreams, and I don't know. I felt even guilty asking for any after losing somebody so special. Like it almost hurt to think about dreaming. But I sat with it for 3 whole days, and that's when I started realizing that my connection to my heart was what was most important. And so then that's when I created the dream to marry my heart. And I thought, it is kind of sounds weird, and some people thought it was, but at the same time, what that did was it helped me to commit to myself. And once I made that commitment of wanting to be true to myself, I started realizing that love doesn't come from the outside. Love doesn't come from a person. My husband, John, isn't who completed me. My parents aren't who completed me. My house, my car, my job, none of that is what completes me. It only can come from within myself. And once I realized that what I was doing earlier was like kind of holding myself on a long leash and thinking I was free and thinking I was getting better or that I was grieving less, but I really wasn't. I kept pulling myself back and into that grief again, because I wasn't trusting that I could have a life on my own, that I could be a new person, that I don't have to keep living like the person I was, because I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. with every death in my family, I've changed into a, something a little bit different. And the loss of my husband really catapulted that in a new way. But it's also made me realize that every loss gives us an opportunity to receive something new. And every single time that I've let go of something, something better has come in because of it. And it's not like it's dishonoring the people that have gone before us, or our life that we were living before. It's not like we're dishonoring ourselves. It's like we're freeing ourselves to be our authentic selves. And we can only do that through looking into our heart. And there's so many ways to do that. You can do it like through music. You can do it through walking in nature, going outside every day, through meditation, through breath work, through support groups, to just talking with somebody, through there's so many avenues. Art is another one, and poetry, or you're an actress, you can do it through that. And we have so many different ways that we can express ourselves and that we can connect with other people. And I think that's all it takes, is finding that little niche. And sometimes when a person dies, it allows you to have that opportunity that you would never have had to do before. And that I would have never written a book if my husband didn't die. And now I've got three. And it's like, it just kind of blows my mind what opportunities are out there waiting for us, as soon as we're ready to accept them.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. It's just I just love the way you've encapsulated everything about that. So, are there any more books planned?
Not at the moment.
You're just going to see what comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I get the feeling there's probably another book there somewhere. No.
There might be. I don't know. We'll have to see. I have a whole new layer now with some, it's all the new subject lines coming into my life right now. So
So there you go. Who knows what's going to materialize? And that's the beauty. We just don't know.
yeah.
And it's just being curious and open to what opportunities, new subject lines come into our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of my word of the year for this year. I picked the word cottywomple, and I didn't know what
I love that
cottywomple meant.
word.
And then I saw it, and it said traveling purposely to an as of yet unknown destination. And I'm like, that's perfect, because I am traveling with purpose. I don't really know for sure where I'm going yet, but I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm enjoying the people I'm meeting on the journey, and I'm enjoying the stories that have come into my life because I've connected with new people. And so I'm excited to keep cottywampling.
I love that. I do love that word. I know somebody who calls herself the coddywompled woman.
Ooh, I'll have to
Um,
meet her someday.
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely yeah, I think she's on my friends
Okay, I'll have to check her
circle.
out.
So check that out. Yeah, she's absolutely lovely. So as you know, I do angel oracle card readings and I do guided meditations. And each week I like to ask my guests what they would like me to do for themselves and those watching. So Susan, would you like me to do a mini guided meditation or pull an oracle card?
Oh gosh, that's a hard choice. I love them both. Oh gosh, let's see. How about a card? We'll
Oh,
see
funny
let's
enough,
see what
they
who
are
joins us today.
they are in my hands as we speak.
All right.
Amazing that. So as you may be aware, when I do the cards for what we need to know for our highest good at this moment in time. So even though
Yeah.
I work with the past, when we go into the past, it's to learn from, to heal from, to experience, so that it doesn't affect us in the present. And when I take people into the future, it's so they can see, understand, know the steps they can take to get there, so it doesn't affect them in the present, and they can be fully present. So let's see. What does Susan and everyone who's watching this need to know for their highest good at this moment of time, no matter when they watch this? Susan. Oh, okay. We're going to love this card. Navigating by the stars, follow your bliss.
Oh. Wow, that's so cool, cattywampling.
Exactly. You just can't make
That's
it.
so
Just
cool.
can't make it up. This is encapsulating everything that you've been talking about. Is that you follow your bliss. You navigate by the stars. Allow the stars to lead you on the journey that you're going. So this really is for you, Susan, is confirmation that what
Yeah,
you're doing is absolutely perfect at this moment in time. And to those that you're watching, it is, give that surrender, navigate by the stars, just allow, surrender to where life is leading you,
yeah.
what lights you up, what is your bliss, and just follow that as you go along. So I'm just blown away that cards uh
So perfect.
come out. It's so much validation for you as well, Susan. So do you have any insights or thoughts or last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
I just want to say every day, share your love, enjoy this day, be present to the moment, whether you're going through grief, whether you're going through challenges, whether you're having the best day of your life. It's all wrapped up together. And just don't let the day go by without loving yourself more. Look inside your heart, go deep, allow yourself to close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and just realize how important you are, how important each one of us is to this planet right now, to each other right now, and always be open to whatever is coming to you through your heart, because that's what we need to look from, is go from our heart and then look forward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So I hope everyone that you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful, because I know I definitely have. So if people want to connect with you, Susan, how do they do that?
I've got a website. It is www.susan-peters.com. And on there, you can have connections to my Facebook site, and it's called Heart to Soul Links. But there is a connection on there. There will be a connection to my books and to just some of my thoughts, some blogs I have written and things like that. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not. I'm on there as, I think, Susan underscore author, or Susan underscore Peters underscore author, or something like that. But I'm not real. I don't post on there very much, so you can look for me.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
going to try to do more on Instagram, but mostly Facebook and my website. So
Yeah, and I will put those links into the comments after the show, so people can just literally click on them. So they don't have to go and try and find you anywhere. They can
right.
just they should just go and do that. So thank you again, Susan, for sharing your wisdom. It's been absolute pleasure. And of course, for those watching, if you are ready for even more clarity and transformation, I'd love to invite you to a free 20-minute live Soul Path Discovery one-to-one video call, where during our time together, I'll pull a couple of angel oracle cards to help you gain clarity and uncover guidance from your higher self or the angels. This is your chance to reflect, connect, and gain insight into your path forward. So I would be truly honored to have a chat with you one-to-one, guide you and help you take the next step toward living the life that you were always meant to live. And of course, I do have a couple of incredible free gifts for you designed to help you connect more deeply with your guides and angels and explore your future. So do check out the link in the comments after the show to grab yours. And again, thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified of when this show goes live. My other show, our Oracle Card and Meditation, Your Weekend Reset, which goes live every Friday at 3 p.m. Any of the other shows, and of course, any of the guided meditations that I post. And remember that every time you like, share, comment, subscribe to my channel, to my guest channels, any of our social media, it really helps us get our message out there, to inspire people to take back charge of their destiny. And you can be part of that beautiful, wonderful community of bringing that information to others. And I look forward to you all joining me, same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.